In 2018, there were 36 homes in the entire year in Fort Collins that sold for more than $1 million. Well, $1,500,000 is the new $1 million in Fort Collins. But the one thing that stayed the same is the neighborhoods in which these homes sold. This year, we're on track for the homes over $1.5 million to be right around 36 homes. Now, that being said, what are these desirable, most exclusive neighborhoods in all of Fort Collins? And that is what we are going to talk about today. The 12 most exclusive neighborhoods in all of Fort Collins that many people want to live in, but few can afford. My name is Patrick Soukup, and this is the Living in Fort Collins YouTube channel where you come to learn everything there is to know about Fort Collins, eating, sleeping, playing, working, and all of the desirable, exclusive neighborhoods in Fort Collins, which is what we are talking about today. Now, if you are relocating, buying, selling, or investing here in Northern Colorado, give my team and I a call, text, or email. We would love to be an asset on your team. But today, we are going to start on the southeast side of Fort Collins and make our way all the way up north to two of the gated communities in Fort Collins, Northern Colorado. Let's go. All right, number one, I'm gonna start off with the Homestead. This is where I really got my start in real estate, luxury real estate, and sold my first $1.5 million house, and I had a great experience, but it was in an amazing neighborhood. These homes in the Homestead stood on half-acre to 2-acre lots. Some have pools, private, exclusivity, 5,000 to 8,000 square feet. Some have mountain views, some backing to pond access. This neighborhood is extremely desirable. When I was growing up, this neighborhood was kind of in the boonies. Like, who would live way out south right by there? Now you've got Cinemark, you've got a lot of parks, you got Fossil Ridge High School right there. It is in a great location and an extremely desirable neighborhood. The Homestead. Homes in here could sell for $1.5 million all the way up to $3+ million. Number two, we've talked about this neighborhood a lot in a lot of different facets, but Fossil Lake Ranch, and really on the south side of Fossil Lake Ranch, Rookery Road, Estuary, among other streets, there are some amazing homes on multi-acre lots. It's going for $1.5 million all the way up to $3 million plus. Fossil Lake Ranch is a cool neighborhood because it actually has a lot of different economics diversity. There are condos, townhomes, there are smaller single family, larger single family, and then of course, these extremely rare multi-acre, multi-million-dollar homes in Fossil Lake Ranch. Now, again, Fossil Lake Ranch backs to Fossil Lake Reservoir, so there's amazing views. You're on the southeast side of town, again, close to Twin Silo Park, Fossil Ridge High School, so good location, and actually one of the more mature neighborhoods on the southeast side. So you actually got a lot of mature trees and landscape in the area. Number three, and this was actually surprising when I looked at the homes that sold in 2018, that not as many in this neighborhoods were sold for that kind of luxury price point. And that's Harbor Walk Estates as well as the Landings. Now, last year there was a home on the market for $3.5 million in the Landings. It was completely renovated, backing to the water with mountain views. It was gorgeous. I didn't think it was gonna sell for $3.5 million, but I was wrong and it did. And that's kind of a great location in Fort Collins, extremely central Fort Collins, Horsetooth and LeMay. A lot of these homes, especially on the landing side, because you got Warren Shores, where I actually grew up, and on the opposite side, you've got the Landings and Harbor Walk Estates that all have lake access, so paddleboarding, fishing with mountain views. I actually got married on Warren Lake in the Harbor Walk Court. It was where my uncle lived at the time. We have some phenomenal pictures, amazing pictures, but location, size of homes, views, and really a great part of town. Number four, and you're gonna have to go searching for this one if you wanna go find it, Fairway Estates. Now, this is really a hidden away neighborhood that you would not guess that multi-million-dollar homes sitting on multiple acre lots with horses, modern exterior finishes, 10,000 square foot houses, multi-car garages is sitting, but that is just the case. It is on the south side of Harmony Road, but it's on the southeast corner of Harmony and College. And really, again, you're gonna have to find this neighborhood because the monument sign is is pretty small, but Fairway Estates is a great little pocket neighborhood. Well, it's not even that pocket. It's actually a relatively big neighborhood where there are homes in the millions, multi-million-dollar range, but it's an extremely desirable location and place that's kind of hidden away behind College and Harmony. Number 5, South Shores. Now this is right smack dab in the middle of town. So you are essentially in Lake Sherwood. So this is on the south side of Lake Sherwood. And really, there are so many different homes that back to Lake Sherwood that would be an extremely desirable place to live. But this kind of neighborhood subdivision, specifically South Shores, is got some of the more expensive homes in the area. They are on the south side of the lake, so you do have the mountain views plus the water access. Now, I talked to one of my buddies who was at the Larimer County Assessor about properties that back to water, because as we have already seen, most of these neighborhoods are going to have some sort of water access, trail access, open fields, multiple acres, up to 2. We didn't really go over 2 or 3 acres to look at this because that's kind of a different category of home. But he suggested that homes that back to water would have an 18% premium when sold comparatively to another house across the street. So a lot of these houses, a lot of these areas are going to have water in and around it. That is an extremely desirable attribute here in Fort Collins and Northern Colorado. Number 6, and this wouldn't have been on the list back in 2018 because, well, it really wasn't built out at that point, and that's Talon Estates. Talon Estates is going to be our furthest neighborhood on the west side of town, off Taft Hill, just south of Drake Road, in between Drake and Horsestooth. But when this was being built by FR Companies, which is a local developer and builder here in Northern Colorado, I was just kind of like, what's going on? But the reality is, you go and you look at some of these homes that are on half-acre lots. They're beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're modern, they're high ceilings, open concepts, beautiful architecture. Some have pools, some have good views, backing to the Spring Creek Trail along with open space and views of the Front Range. Talon Estates has really shot up as one of those desirable places to live in Fort Collins. Number 7, and this is another one that wouldn't have necessarily been too much on that list of neighborhoods in 2018, and that's Pateros Creek. Now, along Wood Street in downtown Fort Collins, we've seen a lot of renovation and remodeling, teardowns, new builds, and Wood Street's kind of a hidden pocket street of absolutely gorgeous multi-million-dollar homes itself. But at the end of Wood Street, you've got Pateros Creek. Now, this actually backs to a pond as well as the Poudre River and the Poudre Trail. So location, location, location is what is driving this desirability of Pateros Creek, along with beautifully custom-built homes. The developer here was Bellissimo Homes and Gino Campana. It's a great development. Pocket neighborhood, again, right near downtown Fort Collins, north on Wood Street, but you have access to the Poudre Trail, Poudre River. You've got a little pond there, and you can get to downtown, Old Town Fort Collins on a bike in minutes. Number 8, and we couldn't do a video about most exclusive neighborhoods, areas in Fort Collins without talking our Bel Air street of Fort Collins, Mountain Avenue. Now, Mountain Avenue is absolutely going to be the street where people go because of the street name. Now, you're going to have parades, Tour de Fat, 4th of July, among many other parades and tours that are operating in and around Mountain Avenue. It is the street. It is gorgeous. You can take the trolley from downtown to City Park. You have access to City Park. You can go do a little bit of grocery shopping at what was Beaver's Market and hopefully will remain a grocery store, but it's a local grocery store on Mountain and Shields. And then, of course, if you want to walk, ride your bike, you are right there to get to downtown Fort Collins. These are a lot of cottages, bungalows, old craftsman style homes. A lot of these have been renovated, a lot of money put into them. Smaller lots, but at the same time, location, location, location is what is driving Mountain Avenue and the desirability of Mountain Avenue. I will say this, Mountain Avenue and probably Oak Street are two of the streets that, you have got a little bit of a bouginess with you. I live on Mountain Avenue. I live on Oak Street in Fort Collins. So if you live on those two streets, it's an extremely exclusive club. A lot of people want to be there. Not too many people can afford, though. It is very pricey. One of my friends owns a small 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house that needs a fair amount of work, probably worth $800,000, $900,000. And it's not necessarily a scraper by any means, just not necessarily, top of the notch of the streets. So something to take into consideration, but Mountain Avenue. Number 9, Linden Lake. Now we've had friends who have bought here, and what's cool about this is you can absolutely see the price difference between homes that back to the water, Linden Lake, and homes that don't. We've had friends that have bought in here for $1.3 million in the last year, and then you've got homes that are selling for $2.5 million, depending on if they've been renovated. Now, this is actually an older neighborhood in Northeast Fort Collins, really close to Country Club, but also pretty close to downtown Fort Collins. So kind of a cool in-between spot with one of the few lake access points there. So Linden Lake is gonna be one of those neighborhoods that you do have, actually you've got ability to bring your horses, you've got tennis. It is a great little neighborhood that you have ability to have lakefront or be a little bit more affordable, but still have access to that desirable exclusive neighborhood that is Linden Lake. Number 10, Cottonwood Point, and specifically this is the Country Club Road. So you are gonna go live in this neighborhood and you are gonna go play golf. You're gonna shake hands, bump elbows with all of the high rollers of sorts in Fort Collins. Now, I say that in jest because the reality is there's a lot of heavy hitters in Fort Collins and they're spread out all over the place. One thing I need you to take into consideration is although there are 12 neighborhoods on this list, there are many other little pocket areas in Fort Collins, whether that be actual subdivisions, little streets, little developments that are here and there that are got acreage, views, custom built homes, a little more land to them. So these are by no means the only neighborhoods in Fort Collins that are exclusive. And by no means is this kind of the high rollers club on Cottonwood Point, but it's still an extremely desirable area right next to and a part of the Country Club. So if you're living here, again, you are gonna wanna go enjoy the Fort Collins Country Club, which I've been told, I'm not a part of it, but I've been told from friends that it's actually gotten a lot of younger folks that have been joining. Kind of a cool vibe. They've done a lot of renovation. And for families, it's actually a really cool spot to go join and enjoy if you are into that type of thing. So take a look at the Fort Collins Country Club. We actually had Country Club Pro on our podcast. Great interview there, so you can go listen to that. But Cottonwood Point, beautiful homes, lake access to Long Pond, mountain views, can't beat it. And our last two of our only gated communities in Fort Collins. We get a lot of questions from people that are moving here to Northern Colorado and Fort Collins and ask about gated communities. And the reality is there's really not many of them. There are some, but they're few and far between. And even the one that I'm just about to talk about, that gate is open essentially until 10 p.m. and opens at 4 a.m. So there's really just limited gate use of this gated community, and that is Eagle Lake. Now this is gonna be our farthest community northwest-ish, Fort Collins, Eagle Lake. Custom homes here, larger lots, 2-acre lots, a lot of different, there's still actually some buildable land there and there are homes being built all the time, but you got great mountain views, especially if you're living on the west side of the street, backing to the mountains, and then you have lake access as well. Again, probably a common denominator, common theme that's driving a lot of these prices and desirability is water access and mountain views. Those two things combined are a 1-2 punch in Fort Collins and Northern Colorado. And finally, number 12, and I'm gonna be 100% honest, I've never been in this community. And I went there today to go and do drone shots of the neighborhood, and it's truly a gated community with code punch-in. Now, I do have access to obviously the MLS and could set up a showing at one of the properties there, but that wouldn't be the right thing to do. That being said, I sat outside, flew my drone over the neighborhood, which is a long drive in, so it's very safe, secure, exclusive, and these homes are probably going to sell for the most in Fort Collins. You could see $3, $4, $5 million homes. They back to Cobb Lake. Some of these, if you back to Cobb Lake, you don't necessarily get the mountain view. So it's kind of a give and take on which side of the street you want to live on Talesian Way. And that being said, Cobb Lake, one of the few gated communities, but very, very exclusive. This is gonna be on the northeast side of Fort Collins, really not even necessarily Fort Collins. You're only 5 miles from Wellington. And that being said, it is a great development. Actually, my mentor's brother was the developer here, and it was an extremely speculative build that is now taken hold and has seen a lot of people want and desire to be out there. So there it is, folks, the 12 most desirable exclusive neighborhoods in Fort Collins, Colorado. If you want any more information specifically on any of these neighborhoods, feel free to reach out. I would love to be that resource for you, and especially if you're considering relocating here, buying, selling, or investing, give my team and I a call, text, or email, or scan this QR code, set up a Zoom call, get that ball rolling. We'd love to be an asset on your team. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.